In Chapter 4, I will talk about environmental justice communities. I want to make the term environmental justice come to life with this case study of Cancer Alley in St. James Parish of Louisiana. Basically, St. James Parish is an 85-mile stretch from New Orleans to Baton Rouge along the Mississippi River. This predominantly Black community is surrounded by 150 industrial plants. This area is called Cancer Alley because of the probability statistics of cancer prevalence in this neighborhood. For decades, residents of St. James Parish have been fighting government and large industry for clean air. This is a huge environmental justice issue because this area has a 95% risk rate of cancer. So, what is an environmental justice community? These are neighborhoods that are surrounded by freeways and industrial facilities, small towns without clean drinking water or sidewalks, and excluded from public investment. These are cities with the nation's largest refineries where residents living next door are exposed to more pollution than others who live miles away. So essentially, environmental justice communities are communities that are heavily exposed to environmental hazards and natural hazards. Environmental justice communities are distinct because they are often predominantly Black and have been strategically placed next to hazardous industries that emit toxic pollutants into the air, into the soil, or into the water. And we all know that harmful industries are often placed closer to Black and Brown communities. So, examples of environmental justice issues don't only focus on the natural environment, but also the built environment. Unsafe housing is an environmental justice issue, such as water affordability. I'll discuss an example, a real life example of water affordability issues that are impacting a Black community in Baltimore. And other examples also include access to healthy food, access to inadequate transportation, and air and water pollution. All of these are examples of environmental justice. So here is a race and air quality map in Chicago. Sometimes we can use demographic and environmental hazard maps to look at where environmental justice issues are taking place. And so these maps often help us to look at how our communities are being impacted and the allocation of environmental hazards. So in Chicago, there are parts of the city that are more impacted by poor air quality than others. As you can see on the southern and western sides of the city, these tend to be dumping grounds for industry, and which create public health hazards that are often left unchecked due to low enforcement of the environmental policies that exist. And also a lack of meaningful policy that aims to enact zoning laws that actually protect vulnerable communities, like low income or Black and Brown communities. So, due to a combination of historical redlining, current zoning laws, and disinvestment, pollution can be expected in these parts of the city. As you can see on the northern end of Chicago, where there are more white and predominantly higher income communities, there is healthier air quality and overall health. Unsafe housing is an example of environmental justice, and this is why I want to talk about Baltimore. If you don't know already, Baltimore has been experiencing water affordability issues in its Black neighborhoods. Water rates have increased quicker than the national average. By 2022, it is expected that the average annual water bill for a Black Baltimore citizen will be triple the national average of water bills in 2010. This is a huge environmental justice issue because the water affordability crisis is due to a failing infrastructure. Cities are in charge of improving sewer systems and water infrastructure for homes, but if this doesn't happen, then that leads to poor water quality or lack of access to water in homes. This is an environmental justice issue also because Black Americans are disproportionately impacted by these issues in the city of Baltimore. These populations tend to make lesser incomes than white Americans and also live in poor and disinvested neighborhoods. So this adds to the everyday challenges that Black Americans in Baltimore might face due to poverty, access to healthy foods, access to adequate transportation to get them back and forth to work, and now they're dealing with access to water. We need water to survive. We need water to clean our bodies, to cook our food, to clean our food, and to clean our spaces. And so without that, then we can face challenges with hygiene and overall safety in the home. And this can be detrimental to children and seniors that are more vulnerable to physical ailments. Now that you've heard about environmental justice communities, the health impacts of crime and violence, and some of the methods that cities have used to decrease crime and violence, I will go into chapter 5, where I'll introduce crime prevention through environmental design, otherwise known as Step 10.